What's your guys' names?
I'm Kaylin. I'm Gabby.
Her name is Keita.
I'm Andrew. I'm Trent.
Natalia.
Belen. Erica.
Jonathan.
My name's June.
My name's Rifki.
Rifty, the first question is on a purely ethical basis, do you think every human being has a right to a free place to live?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely agree. Yes.
You agree?
I think so.
Agreed.
100%.
No. I think they do.
I do.
For free?
I feel like yeah.
Yes, everybody should have shelter.
Yeah.
Why? You sound so sure.
I mean, it's a basic need. No one should live out on the streets. I feel like, yeah.
Because yeah, where to live for each people is not limited to where they born. Yeah, they should have the right to choose where to live. Actually, I'm born in Japan, but now living in the US. So I'm so happy. And yes, everybody should have this kind of right. Yeah, free home as well.
Everyone is meant on this planet to be housed and sheltered. And I feel like that is just the basic right that people need in order to live like a sustainable life or to live a healthy life. Yeah. I don't know how it would work.
We're all on this planet, and I think we deserve a place to live.
Because it's kind of tough to live without a house. I feel like everyone has a right to like shelter and housing, and I honestly think we really need to be doing more to address like our housing crisis, especially like it's like a privilege to be able to live close to where you work.
Well, I come from a public health perspective on it. I think there's basic needs that every human deserves. That's shelter, food, and just like resources to help them live a quality life.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at like other countries like India, and everybody has a place to live. And then you look at America, and it's like this whole mess. Like homelessness could easily be, not easily, but like it could be, I guess, resolved with the right measures. But unfortunately, like the system isn't for that, and that's the reality.
Well, there's like no reason why they should have like a place to live. It's like that's like something you like earn for yourself. So like if they can't earn it, then it's like doesn't mean they deserve it. Well, I mean, I kind of agree with that, but I think everyone deserves a place to live. Like it's sad if you're lonely.
So, regarding the first premise, which is a really interesting, fair take that you have to work for your free place to live. If no one asked to be alive, why do they need to pay the price to be here? If it were possible and we did have the money to do it and we did have land that was allocated strictly to provide all citizens free housing, do you think it's moral?
I think I think the most fair way is if everyone had the equal and equal access to be able to make their own housing or purchase their own housing, but being able to have the means to do it is like something else.
I think it would be great if it was like considered as such, but I do think that there are some like realistic benefits and needs for like paying for like at least like high quality living or
Sure.
housing. Like on campus housing or just like
more just like this is a world where there were units that someone could basically win on like a lottery basis that they would have access to indefinitely.
that would like honestly benefit like so many people because like the homeless populations and stuff would like reduce pretty much entirely. So honestly, I think that that would be really great if it was like a feasible option.
Well, how would your life change if something like this was implemented?
So the guy gives the apartment to me.
I wouldn't be so concerned about being a homeless.
Honestly, for me, I come from a privileged background, so for me, it wouldn't affect it quite as much.
My life personally wouldn't change because I feel like I'm fortunate enough to like come from a family that is able to support me.
My life personally, it probably wouldn't be like greatly impacted,
Sure.
honestly, but like I think that like it would be really cool to know that like people who like are in a very like different situation than I am like would have like better living.
You have something to say too? You can also nod. You know what to-
No
I
comment.
mean,
no, go. She's great. I mean, she's
yeah. That's cool. That's a fair answer.
It would be like a relief. I think we would be able to focus on other things that are more pressing issues, like since this pressing issue would be out of the way.
if free housing was a thing, I think it would free up a lot of finances for not just me, but a lot of people.
There probably would be a lot less stress, but I don't know. I don't know what it would look like, to be honest. Also, I always feel like when it comes to when you give something, you also there's cost benefits.
Honestly, since I still live with my parents, technically I do have free housing. Sure. But if I were living by myself with free housing, it would give me a lot of like more opportunity to use my finances for other things.
Yeah, right.
But I feel like I'm trying to get to the point where that's not a requirement because I want to be like self-sustained, you know.
Sure.
I think that would dramatically change my life. I would have a lot of like money for other things that I want to spend on like healthcare, on a car, on leisure.
Take off so much financial burden. I'm a student, full time student here at UCLA, and I have to work to pay off UCLA housing. My apartment, it's not cheap at all. I've always had to work since my first year as a freshman. It's super expensive, and unfortunately, like as a lower middle class student, FAFSA doesn't cover everything. So I do have to help my parents financially fund my housing here.
Depends where it is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
And how to use it is all depending on me. It is a good apartment to live with my family. I will use it for ourselves. But if it is not, I think I will rent it to others.
So I'm a commuter. So I actually travel because it's not affordable to live here. In LA, I'm actually from the Valley. So I live at home with my family. It would make it such a huge difference, especially for college students. You know, there is that huge crisis where like a lot of college students can't afford housing for the next years. And it just keeps going up and up and up, and they're just packing people in and in. So I think obviously, yes, if affordable housing was available and it was like at a cheaper cost or even at free cost, I think it would be amazing. I think it would just make mental health like just the mental health of students so much better.
So I'm gonna be renting next year. I'm gonna be paying about $1,000, 1,300 I think for rent, and then more for parking. So I think that more money in my pocket basically.
I want to pursue a career in the arts, not a very high money making position. So it's like I get scared about like stuff like rent and stuff. And I'm gonna live off campus next year, and so I was like humbled by like the rent prices, and I'm like,
How would you say that your life would change if someone literally gave you, let's say, an apartment unit that you could live forever?
It would definitely change my life. I wouldn't say that it guarantees success, but it's a foundation for better things in life. Yeah.
What are those better things in life?
Yeah, get a job and basically just be normal like other people, I guess, have the same opportunities.
How would your life change if you got housing, Garrett?
It'd be really nice.
It'd be really nice.
We would have cities that are more lively, communities that really belong to people, and like just a general I think we would have much stronger communities in places that are really more cohesive and free to live in.
Last question is: do you guys think there is any world in the future where something like this is possible?
Oof.
No.
Good question.
I don't think it's possible.
Right now, no. I mean, it doesn't look like it. Not in the near future.
Real estate is very expensive, and I think to keep up with paying for it, rent isn't expensive enough. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but rent is already expensive, but land is even more expensive. I don't think it's possible.
I think no.
Why?
Because it's in the interest of nobody who has houses. You mean like social housing? I'm from Spain, and our history with social housing is that although it's a good project, it's also the first thing that goes during a crisis. Like it's the first thing that gets sold or canceled.
Let's say ideologically, I agree with it. I hope so. But in reality, uh, chance is not so high, I believe. Yeah, there are so many gap of the rich and poor, and also some kind of the light. They have the light or not. Many problems are there. So I hope the world will be better than now, but there should be many problems, I believe.
I mean, if it's like free, as in like you don't have to pay anything for anything directly out of pocket, I could see it, but I don't know if I would want to live in that society. That would involve like giving up a lot of control and planning to like some other body.
No, I don't see that happening. You know?
It's just impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's just impossible. I'm not gonna add on to that.
Do you think it's possible?
For everyone to have free housing? I don't know. I don't know, but again, I think it's because of the way that I mean, it'd have to be a complete shift in mindset, a complete shift in culture, a complete shift in the way that the world is constructed. Like everything would have to shift in order for that to happen. Right now, we're not even doing that with like basic things. So I don't know how we would get to that point.
The free housing? Yeah, if the 10 top 1% of the world give away their money for sure.
You don't think the government will actually do it?
I don't know. Who can say? I don't know what the future holds.
Thanks. Thank you for your time, Rifty.
I think it's possible. I think sometimes it might not seem the most realistic, at least not right now. But I think that like if it was prioritized more, it's definitely doable.
So, do you think the government in the future will ever provide free housing to its citizens?
With our government now and like the way it's being run now, it's not likely to happen anytime soon. Yeah. Especially with people in need. I feel like we're very money hungry. That's who we are. Yeah. Money hungry. Money's like our priority, so I don't think that will happen. Political climate that we're facing right now. Let's also say like LA's about to host the Olympics. That's also a huge pusher for like what's going on with all the like unhoused homeless individuals. There very much is not like this idea like just like let's push them away, but let's not like give them options.
Probably not, especially with the direction politics is right now. We're not getting much to begin with anymore. Not in the US, I think. I'm not optimistic anymore. Yeah.
I think at the current moment in the United States, I don't think so with the way the cost of living is rising and everything like that. Maybe after this current political climate, I think that is definitely possible.
I think it's possible. Just I feel like government just has to get their priorities straight, knowing what kind or where the funds are going to be going, because there are countries in the world that do have affordable housing and free housing for people, especially unhoused people.
I don't mean to be pessimistic at all. But I think that just like the nature of government usually, at least in a lot of countries that are like capitalist, I think that providing people with housing for free as like a basic human right would kind of take a toll on certain like economical aspects of like a country, and so I think certain governments wouldn't be as interested in this idea, even though like ethically and morally it sounds amazing and like we would all love it. I know some governments just wouldn't be as inclined to provide that.
Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I think with a lot more like taxes and also just like government reform, I think it's doable. I think there's a lot of like good work in California trying to like improve this, but I definitely think it's very difficult for sure.
For your nonprofit, are you guys trying to give affordable housing to people?
So, what we're doing is we're actually building units for people to live at no cost. And it's through a lottery based system where, regardless of where you live or how much income you make, you can live in one of these units. What we do is we put all of our donations into the S&P 500 and we generate annual returns from that to be able to build a new apartment building every year forever.
Wait, that's kind of cool. Wait, what? Like, wait, genuinely, like, what's the?
Genuinely, it's batshit crazy because that's like the biggest thing that could happen.
I think it's really positive. I mean, but what happens if like your stock portfolio goes down? Like then, like what would happen then?
We don't buy apartments on years where the S&P goes a down year. We have our own numbers and our team that manages when can we afford it, when do we just have to wait and pause. But since the 10% returns can literally like $10 million would give $1 million every year. Last year would have given 3.3 million, so it would have been 3 apartments. It's so cool though that you think it's a cool idea even though you don't think it's a right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a right, but like if you have the means to provide it to someone, I think that's a great thing, you know. Because like I mean, you're like offering it as charity.
If you look at the like long-term history of at least of America, but also just the world, like we become more progressive in determining like what is a basic human need and what is not. Medicare and Medicaid programs didn't exist before the Affordable Care Act, which was not that long ago. So like healthcare is also increasingly becoming more of a human right. Food security is also increasingly becoming more of a human right, and I think shelter can follow that same path. And people will start to realize that as time goes on, and I think that it's absolutely achievable, but I think it requires us to really start speaking about it, make our politicians or people who are in charge know that this is a problem that we really care about. So yeah.
I'm not that hopeful about our government like right now. Just take a lot of work.
I read that there are actually more empty apartments in the United States than there are homeless people. I don't think it's going to happen in the short term, but I do believe in the long term we will come to realize that housing is a human right, and we can work through that solution if we have the space, which we actually do.
We did not used to think were basic rights, even education, for everybody, that now we understand is obviously an essential right. Who's to say shelter couldn't follow that same path?
Absolutely, and I think it will. I mean, education, healthcare, food. We see all these things that before were like restricted for so many people, and it was like, oh, you have to work for these things. But you kind of start to realize, like, in the system that we live in, and sometimes it's not about the person not working hard enough. Sometimes it's just about like unfortunate circumstances.
We're just not allocating our funds right. Like, what are we talking about? We have enough funds. This is like,
I hope an idealistic, hopefully long before, hopefully we can see it. I think right now, no, but I'm really hopeful in the future, yes.
Okay. All right, bet. Let's get some all good friends. One of my friends yesterday was talking to me about how he has no housing because he lost his house in the fires. So he's been going from Airbnb to Airbnb this whole time since January, and FEMA has been providing him very little coverage. They said they were going to provide him housing coverage. It's like 10%. And so he's paying the vast majority of it. He's like practically begging friends for a place to stay. And it's just kind of ridiculous to me that like we as a government can fund I can get into so many government programs that I think are ridiculous. We have such a high budget for the military industrial complex, but we can't provide these people who have just lost their homes, who have lost everything, with temporary housing for a few months. I think that's ridiculous, and I think we could totally reallocate our funds to make that possible.
Thank you guys so much. These are really great answers. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Take care. Yeah.
Especially with like homelessness and stuff, there's bigger issues than if you just give people free housing. It's not going to go well. I mean, people deserve free housing, but usually once they get that, it's going to cause other problems, and the government usually, I don't think there's much they can do about that. Giving free housing to people, it's not something they would do.
Thank you. Take care.
It's going to take a long time to get to that place, and it's hard to it's not hard to imagine, but it is hard to figure out the steps to get there, and also like it might mean different things to different people too.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, thanks, bro. You're the first person we interviewed.
Do you think that free housing for everybody is a basic human right?
I don't know about free, but I think everybody should have housing, yeah.
Doesn't know about free, but thinks everyone should have housing. Do you think there's a world where our government works towards making this happen?
I think so. I think it could be possible.
Think so. Thinks it could be possible. Thank you. I love you.